Deebo Samuel in motion. Brock Purdy will dump it off to McCaffrey. He's got a blocker. He's headed for the end zone, and Christian McCaffrey has a 49er touchdown. Boy, some really nice downfield blocking.
Chris Myers on Fox, and the downfield blocking was extraordinary there, but I want to talk about Christian McCaffrey, Ray. When we were talking to Nick Bosa just last week, we asked Nick, what is it about Christian McCaffrey that makes him fit Kyle's offense so well? And he basically said it's the guy's attention to detail. And his attention to detail, you want to go ahead and say, well, that's a guy who grew up around the game because his father was a football lifer and he's a football lifer, and that's where attention to detail comes from. You're watching game film with your dad when you're like 5 years old. There's that. There's the Stanford education, which can't be overlooked when it comes to people who, are pretty good at the concept of details. Beyond all of that, beyond all of the stuff that half the time, Ray, when you're talking about a player's IQ, it's because they just don't have the physical measurables that explain what it is they do or how it is they do it. It's like, this guy is just smarter than the rest, is the argument that a lot of people will make. Not only is maybe Christian McCaffrey smarter than the rest, he's faster than all of them. Man, I don't know. I'm not measuring guys in their 40 times, but Christian McCaffrey is a blur 2 steps into any route he's running or handoff he's about to take. I don't think I've seen anybody move faster in a 49ers uniform than Christian McCaffrey. And I don't know if that's just an optical illusion because he's, bursting through an offensive line, which is pretty much at like a stalemate with a defensive line. I don't know what it is. But Jordan Mason doesn't look as fast. Elijah Mitchell, who, welcome back, by the way, we'll get to him. He doesn't look as fast. Nobody in this league looks as fast as Christian McCaffrey does with the football. He is a blur. It sounds like that's way too romantic and dramatic of a word to describe what you're seeing. He's breathtaking. I can't believe how fast he is every single time he touches the ball. He is forever falling forward. Always. Oh, he's never buried. Even if he gets buried in the backfield, he still somehow leans forward for a 2-yard gain even then. He's special. I mean, all day and night long, no doubt about it. One of the best to ever play level special.
Samuel's probably faster, but
Deebo has no separation speed. He's not faster.
No. You're as a wide receiver, but hitting the hole when he was being used as a running back last year,
he's good.
He hit the hole very quickly. I'm talking about that one skill. I'm not talking about breaking down the field and being catching the ball 35 yards down the field, because McCaffrey doesn't have to do that either. I'm trying to compare comparable skills. But no, McCaffrey's sensational. I mean, that's not a revelation. He was sensational on bad Panthers teams.
But he's beyond sensational in terms of the highlights that you get to see. He's one of those, until you watch him play a full game, you don't get it, guys. He really is. He's sensational on 2nd and 7. Where he gets you 6. Doesn't make the highlight tape, but that's when he does it. All the time. He is forever reaching for the pylon. He is just a first down waiting to happen. 79 scrimmage yards this past weekend. It gave McCaffrey 1,210 as a member of the 49ers. That is the most amount of scrimmage yards by a midseason addition in NFL history. I mean, come on. Now, it's not a league that is built itself on a huge list of impactful in-season trades. It's not like the NBA. It's not like baseball. But I'll say that, dude, Christian McCaffrey, Ray, I mean, you want to go, hopefully you can go through your quick mental Rolodex here too. Christian McCaffrey, one of the biggest instant difference trades I've ever seen in my life, any sport, any era, any team, ever. Like in my lifetime, I can't think of a guy who's made more of a difference. I mean, now, obviously, it'll gain a demerit if they don't go on to win it all. If they do, I think that almost cements it. But I can't think of any sport dropping a mid-season trade that so forever not only changed the arc of the regular season that you just had, the postseason that you might have, but the team that you're going to be going forward. I mean, instantly, which off the top of your head, what is the greatest in-season trade in sports history?
Will Chamberlain going from the Warriors back to Philadelphia?
Sounds significant.
Yeah.
So if you're on a list with Wilt Chamberlain, you're pretty damn good, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the fact is players of this caliber usually don't get traded in midseason. If they leave a team, it's either out of free agency or they get traded in the offseason. That's the thing that made this unique. And that's why Kyle Shanahan, the Riverboat Gambling general manager, was willing to throw a pile of draft choices that he doesn't really have into a deal to get him. I mean, he overpaid by what McCaffrey's market value might have been at the time because he needed him that badly. So he was willing to overpay, and now it turns out to be a bargain. But
somebody from the Xfinity Mobile text line says, it's still a C- trade. Don't bother calling this show or interacting with it again. I mean, if you have C- as your letter grade for the Christian McCaffrey trade, you're a moron.
Yeah, why would you read that?
Just because it was there.
Oh, God.
Somebody's like, what about Dion? Primetime Dion. Was that an in-season trade?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was either.
But
so Dion
I've been wrong on that before, so I'll look.
Joe Thornton to the Sharks was a pretty big trade mid-season. I'll give you that.
If the 49ers never win a Super Bowl with Christian McCaffrey, then the Thornton trade is about as good.
A good comp in the Bay, that's for sure.
I mean, he got them to a Stanley Cup final. They lost to a better team, but that's a quality comp, absolutely.
Marco Scudero. Look, Marco was huge. Who knew he was Ty Cobb? Somebody's like John Gruden. No, definitely not John Gruden.
No, Sanders was picked up in the offseason. He played the full 1994 with the 49ers.
Cespedes for Leicester. Yeah, if you're talking about trades you shouldn't have made, probably. That's up there too. Fred Dean. Yeah, I mean, that's the go-to for the 49ers. This is comp to that. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I wasn't watching that Fred Dean season quite as much as I'm watching this one unfold. So I'll have to take your word for it. But this is it's amazing. CC Sabathia to the Brewers. They didn't win anything.
Yeah, the Dean trade was pretty impressive. He ended up being fourth in MVP voting in a year in which they won the Super Bowl. So, yeah, you could put that on the list.
Hunter Pence, here's a midseason trade. It didn't bear instant fruit. And by the way, I'll give Butcher Boy full credit for bringing this up. And when he said this is one of the biggest in-season trades in the history of the Bay Area, he said Fred Dean, Hunter Pence is on that list. It didn't bear instant fruit. But the Golden State Warriors don't win their first title without Andrew Bogut. Monte Ellis for Andrew Bogut was an in-season trade. They finished that year, then they played the next year, then the year after that, they were NBA champions. The Stack Jack trade was an in-season trade that meant something. Baron Davis was a big in-season trade, but again, just the very nature of basketball means you get trades like that more often. From a football standpoint, I don't know if we've ever seen anything bigger. Again, if this does end like, oh my God, there's a parade up Market Street and they won it all. I mean, Christian McCaffrey gets to be, even though he wouldn't have, the accounting stats, he sits on that one line with Frank Gore in terms of greatest running back in team history. Roger Craig obviously gets on that list. And after that, you're pulling some $1 million backfield stuff out of your, rear end.
Well, I mean, they did make the Hall of Fame.
They were Hall of Famers, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is Christian McCaffrey's probably going to go to the Hall of Fame too. If he stays healthy, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He produces like a Hall of Famer. He's got himself already on lists with other running backs in terms of yardage and production. And the list is, Eric Dickerson. They're all Hall of Famers. Emmitt Smith. Thurman Thomas. The guy is unbelievable. He's unbelievable good. And I can say this, even though it's racially charged. He's the fastest white boy I've ever seen on a football field. What are you going to say? Jason Sehorn? A little bit. He was fast. Backpedal for a white boy. Christian McCaffrey is ridiculous. He looks like he's Olympic sprinter level fast out there. Guy is special, man. Special, special, special. And he's a big reason why this team is where they are right now. It's rare is the player who honestly feels like, anytime they touch the ball, they could go on and score. Yeah, for the most part, that's not true about anybody. Like, you put 80 yards in between that guy touching the ball in the end zone, they're probably not scoring, 199 out of 200 times. Like, I dropped that to 192 times out of 200 times for Christian McCaffrey. Like, that's who he is. He is a sliver of daylight away from being gone at all times. It's special. And that's what hopefully Debo's going to bring back. My goodness, Elijah Mitchell. That guy just dropped like the best rookie season in the history of 49ers running backs just last year. Almost hidden in plain sight and forgotten about. Welcome back, Elijah Mitchell, indeed. Unbelievable. Unbelievable